And William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family.
The walls of Buckingham Palace have withstood centuries of power struggles, scandals, and whispered betrayals. But nothing could have prepared the royal family for what just unfolded. A move so audacious, so meticulously calculated that it sent shockwaves through the monarchy's very foundation. Kate Middleton, the ever-poised, ever-graceful Princess of Wales, had just made a decision that would alter the course of royal history. It wasn't a misstep. It wasn't a moment of emotion. It was deliberate, precise, and utterly staggering. Behind the palace doors, chaos erupted. Advisors scrambled, their carefully crafted narratives crumbling in real time. Senior officials exchanged frantic calls, desperate to contain the fallout. The monarchy, already walking a fragile line between tradition and modern expectation, was suddenly thrown into an abyss of uncertainty. The British crown had endured wars, abdications, and betrayals, but this was different. This came from within, from someone who had, until now, mastered the delicate balance of duty and diplomacy. At the center of it all, Queen Camilla stood blindsided. The woman who had spent decades clawing her way into the royal family's acceptance, who had finally cemented her place as queen, now found herself reeling. She had fought too hard and endured too much, only to find herself upstaged by the very woman who was once dismissed as an outsider. The whispers inside Buckingham Palace turned into a deafening roar. What had Kate done? And more importantly, why? To the public, Kate had always been the embodiment of grace, a modern royal, balancing motherhood duty and an unwavering sense of poise. She wasn't one to stir controversy, nor did she seek the spotlight. Yet, with one decisive act, she had sent a message that couldn't be ignored. This was no accident. It was a power move. But for what purpose? Was it to reclaim control? To challenge an institution that had long dictated her every step? Or was there something deeper, something that had been festering beneath the surface for years? The British monarchy thrives on perception. It is built on the illusion of unity, of unwavering strength. But behind closed doors, the battle for influence is relentless. Power in the royal family is not simply handed down, it is secured, fought for, and, at times, taken. Kate's move shattered the carefully curated narrative of harmony. The world had always seen her as the dutiful wife of Prince William, a supporting figure in the grand spectacle of the monarchy. But today, she wasn't just a princess, she was a force. And yet, as the monarchy scrambled to make sense of her decision, one question loomed larger than the rest. What had pushed Kate Middleton to this point? For years she had played by the rules, she had smiled through the tension, mainland trained the perfect balance of deference and quiet strength. What had changed? What had finally tipped the scales? The answer lay in the history that no one wanted to discuss, a history of power struggles, silent battles, and an unspoken rivalry that had been simmering beneath the surface for far too long. Kate's move wasn't spontaneous, it wasn't born out of impulse. It was the culmination of years of tension, of hidden resentments, of quiet defiance masked as royal decorum. And now the cracks in the monarchy were no longer just whispers in the halls of Buckingham Palace. They were headlines, a spectacle unraveling before the eyes of the world. But before we uncover Kate's ultimate move, let's explore how this tension started. The British monarchy has always thrived on structure, a carefully orchestrated hierarchy where every member knows their place, their role, and most importantly, their limits. But within the grand halls of Buckingham Palace, a quiet battle has been brewing, one that has remained hidden beneath the polished veneer of royal tradition. It is a rivalry unspoken yet undeniable, a power struggle between two women who were never meant to collide, Kate Middleton and Queen Camilla. Two forces shaped by entirely different paths, yet now locked in a delicate, silent war for influence. From the moment Kate Middleton stepped into the royal limelight, she captivated the public with an almost unsettling ease. She didn't have to fight for approval, nor did she endure the relentless scorn that Camilla had suffered for decades. Kate was embraced, adored. She represented the modern monarchy as gracefully, elegant, and effortlessly relatable. Camilla, on the other hand, had spent years clawing her way into acceptance. Once the most vilified woman in Britain, she had endured decades of backlash, scandal, and relentless scrutiny. She had fought to prove that she belonged, that she was more than just the infamous other woman. And finally, after years of calculated efforts, she had secured her place as queen. But just as she settled into her long-awaited role, Kate's shadow began to loom larger. The monarchy is built on unshakable order. Some lead, those who follow, and those who are meant to remain in the background. But Kate was not fading into the background. Instead, she was redefining what it meant to be royal. With every public appearance, every effortless display of warmth and connection, she was quietly shifting the monarchy's center of power. The people adored her, respected her, and looked to her as the future of the royal family. It was an adoration Camilla had never truly received, and that, some insiders say, made her uneasy. The tension was never loud, it was never spoken, but it existed in the quiet stiffness of their interactions, the rehearsed smiles that never quite reached their eyes, the subtle but unmistakable distance between them. Camilla had spent decades trying to secure a place at the heart of the monarchy. Now, Kate was effortlessly commanding that very space. And in a monarchy that thrives on perception, public favor is everything. The moment the people shift their loyalty, the balance of power begins to tremble. Kate wasn't just disrupting the monarchy's traditions, she was reshaping its future. And in doing so, she was challenging the very order that had allowed Camilla to rise. Was Camilla threatened? Did she see Kate not just as a daughter-in-law, but as a rival? Those close to the palace whisper that the unease between them was always there, lurking beneath the surface. A quiet battle between past and future, between acceptance and adoration, between two women who, in another world, might never have crossed paths. But this rivalry didn't start overnight. It dates back to Kate's early days in the royal family. For centuries, royal marriages were never just about love. They were alliances and strategic moves designed to strengthen the monarchy, maintain its bloodline, and uphold centuries-old traditions. And when Prince William, the future King of England, fell in love with Kate Middleton, the world celebrated a modern fairy tale, a prince choosing love over duty, a commoner set to become a queen. But behind the palace doors, not everyone was celebrating. Among the whispers of royal corridors, one voice stood in quiet opposition: Queen Camilla. Camilla had fought for decades to secure her place in the monarchy. She had endured public scorn, relentless criticism, and a battle for legitimacy that had nearly torn the royal family apart. Now, she had finally emerged victorious. She had married Charles, she had been accepted, she had won. But as she watched William grow closer to Kate, an unease settled in. This wasn't just about William's happiness, it was about the monarchy's future, and Camilla wasn't convinced that Kate Middleton belonged in it. According to royal biographer Christopher Anderson, Camilla saw Kate as too common. Not because Kate wasn't poised or elegant, but because she didn't come from the aristocratic circles that traditionally supplied royal brides. Unlike generations of princesses before her, Kate didn't descend from noble lineage. She had no title, no inherited wealth, no royal blood. She was middle class, raised in a family that had built their success through hard work, not a birthright. And in the world of royalty, where heritage meant everything, that was a problem. Camilla allegedly voiced her concerns behind closed doors, pushing Charles to question whether Kate was truly the right match for William. She wasn't the first to raise the issue. There had always been murmurs within the upper echelons of the royal establishment, concerns that Kate, despite her elegance, lacked the aristocratic pedigree expected of a future queen. But Camilla, insiders claim, was particularly vocal. She had spent years proving that she belonged, clawing her way to the top despite the world's disapproval. Now she saw Kate walking effortlessly into royal favor, adored by the public in a way Camilla never had been. Did she fear being overshadowed? Or was this a calculated move to secure her influence within the family? What is undeniable is that Camilla's disapproval did little to deter William. His love for Kate was unwavering, and despite any quiet opposition, the engagement was announced. The world watched as Kate Middleton stepped onto the royal stage, the sapphire ring of Princess Diana glistening on her finger, a symbol of continuity, of legacy, of a love that defied expectations. But beneath the surface, the seeds of tension had already been planted. Camilla may not have stopped the marriage, but her reservations spoke volumes. Kate, however, didn't retaliate. She remained composed, never once acknowledging the rumors of opposition. But as the years passed, something else began to unfold. A shift, a change in dynamics. Because while Kate never fought back with words, her growing influence within the monarchy spoke louder than any confrontation ever could. And as her power grew, so did the tension between her and Camilla. When Kate Middleton stepped into the royal family, she wasn't just assuming a title, she was redefining what it meant to be royal. She didn't merely follow the traditions, she breathed new life into them. She wasn't content with standing in the background, smiling dutifully while others dictated the course of history. Instead, she made a choice that set her apart from those who had come before her. She would not simply exist within the monarchy, she would transform it. From the very beginning, she understood the weight of the crown. It wasn't just about wearing tiaras and attending state dinners, it was about influence, about service, about being a figure that the people could believe in. And Kate understood something that no amount of royal protocol could teach. A crown alone does not make a queen, the people do. So she focused not on spectacle, but on substance. She threw herself into causes that mattered, becoming a vocal advocate for mental health, early childhood development, and public service. She didn't just show up at charity events, she built initiatives from the ground up. She wasn't just a figurehead, she was a force. The world took notice. While Camilla had spent decades working to repair her image, Kate had something that could not be manufactured: instant, unwavering adoration. The public saw in her a future queen who was approachable yet dignified, compassionate yet strong. She had the rare ability to connect with people, to make them feel seen, heard, and valued. Whether she was speaking with world leaders or comforting a struggling mother, her warmth was undeniable. And with every appearance, every carefully chosen word, every quiet yet powerful act of service, her influence grew. And that influence? It didn't go unnoticed within the palace walls. Camilla had fought for years to prove she belonged, enduring endless scrutiny before finally earning her place beside Charles. Kate, on the other hand, had stepped into royal life and commanded admiration effortlessly. It was a contrast that could not be ignored. The future of the monarchy was shifting, and Kate was at the center of it. Not just as a princess, not just as a wife, but as a leader in her own right. But with power comes resistance. Kate's growing influence may have captured the hearts of the people, but did it sit well with those who had spent their lives climbing the royal hierarchy? Whispers of tension began to spread, murmurs of unease behind the palace doors. She wasn't just the Duchess of Cambridge anymore, she was the future of the monarchy, and not everyone was ready for that shift. And then came the defining moment, the moment that shattered the illusion of harmony, the moment that made the quiet rivalry impossible to ignore. The moment that exposed the tension for the world to see. The coronation of King Charles III was supposed to be a moment of triumph, a ceremony woven with centuries-old traditions, a declaration of continuity, stability, and unity. But beneath the surface of regal splendor, something else was brewing. This was not just about a king ascending his throne, it was about Camilla officially being crowned as queen, the woman who had fought for decades to be accepted by the institution, by the public, by history itself, was about to cement her place at the pinnacle of the monarchy. It was her crowning moment. Or at least, it should have been. The world watched as the grandeur of the ceremony unfolded. Every movement, every gesture, every symbolic act was carefully orchestrated to reinforce the monarchy's power. But then, something unexpected happened. A moment so small, so subtle, that it might have gone unnoticed by the untrained eye, yet within the walls of Buckingham Palace, it was seismic. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, the future queen, did not curtsy. It was tradition. A deeply ingrained protocol that signified respect and recognition of the hierarchy. Senior royals were expected to curtsy to Camilla, acknowledging her newly crowned status. But Kate remained still. She did not bend. She did not yield. And in that single, deliberate moment, the world saw what had been whispered behind closed doors for years. This was more than a breach of protocol. This was a message. The cameras caught it. The footage spread like wildfire. Was it an oversight? A misstep? Or was this something else entirely? The murmurs started almost immediately. Could it be that Kate, the ever-composed, ever-dutiful princess, had just sent a silent but unmistakable signal? Did she just declare in front of the entire world that Camilla did not have her loyalty? Inside the palace, the tension was palpable. The monarchy has always relied on unspoken agreements, on carefully managed optics. Rebellion in the royal family doesn't come with grand declarations, it comes in quiet defiance, in moments that shake the institution without a single word being spoken. And this was one of those moments. The public, already divided in their acceptance of Camilla, erupted with speculation. Was Kate challenging her authority? Was this the beginning of an internal power struggle? The monarchy thrives on stability, but in that instant, it felt fragile. Because if Kate Middleton, the beloved future queen, was unwilling to fully acknowledge Camilla's position, what did that say about the future of the monarchy itself? But this wasn't just a moment of defiance, it was a shift in royal power. The power within the British monarchy has never been about titles alone. Crowns are worn, oaths are taken, and history is written, but true power lies elsewhere. It rests in the hearts of the people, and in this modern age where tradition collides with public perception, one undeniable reality is taking shape. Camilla may hold the title of Queen, but Kate Middleton holds something far more valuable: the unwavering devotion of the public. For years, the monarchy has been a delicate balancing act, an institution rooted in legacy yet constantly adapting to survive. King Charles sits on the throne, Camilla beside him, but behind palace doors, beyond official titles, another shift is taking place. Analysts believe the monarchy is quietly reshaping itself, not around Charles and Camilla, but around the future, around William and Kate. The world sees them as the next true rulers, the figures who will define the royal family for generations to come. The people's loyalty, their admiration, and their belief in the monarchy's future no longer rests with the king and queen. It belongs to the Prince and Princess of Wales, and within the palace, those whispers are impossible to ignore. The institution has always been careful in managing public perception, but no amount of royal decorum can change the reality unfolding before them. Kate is more than just a future queen. She is a symbol of stability, modernity, and effortless connection with the people. Unlike Camilla, who spent decades fighting for acceptance, Kate never had to beg for the public's love. She was embraced from the beginning. Every appearance she makes, every cause she champions, only strengthens her position. She is not just a consort, she is the monarchy's most powerful asset. And that changes everything. Behind closed doors, the balance of power is shifting. The royal family is not a democracy, but it is not immune to the will of the people. A monarchy cannot thrive without loyalty, without trust, without an heir who carries the institution forward. And that trust? It no longer resides in Charles and Camilla, it belongs to William and Kate. With every passing day, the focus moves further from the reigning monarchs and onto their successors. The question isn't whether Kate will be queen, it's how soon. Camilla may wear the crown now, but in the eyes of the people, her time is already fading. The future is Kate. The world knows it, the palace knows it, and perhaps, deep down, even Camilla knows it. But what does this mean for the future of the monarchy? For centuries, the British monarchy has been a symbol of continuity, an institution that endures through wars, scandals, and shifting tides of public opinion. But now, as the world watches, it stands at a crossroads. A new era has begun under King Charles III, yet the excitement that once surrounded royal transitions has dimmed. The once unshakable monarchy is under increasing pressure to modernize, to prove its relevance in a world that no longer bows so easily to crowns and titles. And amid this reckoning, only two figures seem to hold the public's unwavering loyalty: Kate and William. The numbers don't lie. Public approval of the monarchy is slipping. Charles, despite his years of preparation for the throne, has struggled to capture the hearts of the people in the way his mother once did. Camilla, even with a queen's crown, remains a divisive figure. The younger generation questions the necessity of the institution itself. But while some royals fade into the background of indifference, one couple has emerged as the monarchy's last great hope: William and Kate. The people don't just admire them, they see them as the future, the embodiment of what the monarchy could become if only it dared to evolve. And Kate? She has not remained idle. Her actions in recent months suggest something far greater than mere royal duty. She is not just fulfilling her role, she is reshaping it, taking a stance, moving with a quiet but undeniable force that signals a deeper shift in the balance of power. Unlike previous generations of royal consorts, she is not waiting for history to dictate her path, she is writing it herself. And whether by design or instinct, she has placed herself at the center of the monarchy's future. Charles may wear the crown, but the world's gaze is already shifting beyond him. Analysts, insiders, and even the most devoted royal watchers cannot ignore what is unfolding. The monarchy is evolving, whether it acknowledges it or not, and Kate Middleton, the once commoner turned future queen, is standing at the forefront of that transformation. If there is to be a modern monarchy, one that survives the changing times, it will not be built by Charles and Camilla. It will be built by William and Kate. But the question remains, where does this leave the rest of the royal family? Will they embrace the inevitable shift, or will they resist the tide of change? History has shown that power within the monarchy is never simply given. It is taken, shaped, and at times fought for. And Kate's latest move, it may have been subtle, but it cannot be undone. It has set something in motion, something that cannot be ignored. The question now is not just what the future of the monarchy will look like, but who will define it. The fallout was immediate. The palace, an institution built on tradition and control, was now in damage control mode. Crisis meetings were called. Advisors whispered behind closed doors, drafting statements, measuring responses, scrambling to contain what had already spiraled far beyond their grasp. The illusion of unity, the delicate image that had shielded the monarchy for generations, was now cracking in full view of the world. And at the center of it all stood two women, one who had spent decades fighting for legitimacy and another who had effortlessly captured the hearts of millions. Camilla was said to be furious, not because she hadn't expected resistance, she knew better than anyone how hard it was to carve out space within the monarchy, but because of this? This was different. This wasn't the quiet discontent of the past. This wasn't subtle disapproval from royal traditionalists. This was a shift happening in real time, playing out not just behind palace walls, but on the world stage. A battle for influence, for power, for the very future of the monarchy itself. And yet, for all her anger, Camilla knew there was little she could do. The tide was turning, and she had no choice but to accept it. Because while Charles may be king, and Camilla may hold the title of queen, the people had already made their decision. Kate's influence was no longer something that could be ignored. It wasn't confined to staged royal appearances or carefully curated engagements. It was growing, shaping, and becoming something undeniable. Analysts, insiders, and even the most seasoned royal commentators were beginning to ask the question no one dared voice aloud. Would the transition to the next reign come sooner than expected? For the first time in decades, the battle for power within the royal family was no longer a private matter. It was being watched, dissected, and debated in real time. And as the monarchy fought to maintain control of the narrative, one thing became clear. This was not just another royal feud. This was something far more significant. The weight of the monarchy's survival now rested on one fundamental question. Could it withstand another fracture? Because history has shown that the monarchy is not invincible. It has survived scandals, betrayals, and abdications. It has weathered wars, divorces, and the relentless pressure of modern scrutiny. But this was something entirely new, a power shift that was happening in the public eye, one that no carefully crafted statement or royal decree could erase. The monarchy had always been a story written by those who held the crown, but this time the script was changing. And the question that lingered in the air, the one no one could yet answer, was simple. The future of the British royal family is being rewritten. The question is, who will write the final chapter? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.